Alright guys, welcome to ConQuest, Con Going for the Brave of Heart. I'm Dalton, and here I got my buddy Justin, who's going to be a part of our ConQuest team now, so introduce yourself.
You used my real name.
What?
You can't use my real name. That's not cool.
Do you not want your real name?
Nobody needs to know my real name. But now that you guys freaking know it, what are the okay, so hi, first of all, I'm we're going to call me Oppie. It's the
Oppie or Justin.
It doesn't matter. If you see me in public, do either or. I'll say it. But anyway, what are the what can I say? What can't I say? Is there like an age restriction?
No, like we cuss, it's everything.
All right, so fuck you one for saying my real name.
Well, you never said you didn't want your real name. I was just like gonna
we didn't. It wasn't like up for discussion. Nobody asked. I wasn't given like a hey, what should I say? What should I not say?
Yeah. All right, but. This is a new thing on the podcast. Me and him are going to start... Stop playing my VR. But me and him are going to start doing...
It's really big.
Called...
Go ahead. That's what she said.
Called movie reviews, which everyone's heard. But we're going to make it a special point of, making sure, it's either a really, really good movie or really, really bad.
So, a thing that me and Dalton are actually, super into is watching really shitty movies, but enjoying the living fuck out of them. Because we have watched some god-awful movies.
ATM.
Oh my god, why is Josh Peck in that movie?
But today, we're going to do our first one on our ConQuest podcast
Hold on.
No, what?
We're continuing on to give them the story as to why we're doing such a thing. All the great movies we've watched, like World's Greatest Dad. Most people will look at that movie and go, wow, that movie was horseshit. You know what? I think Robin Williams outdid himself in that movie.
I mean, I love that movie, but at the same time, I'm sitting there man, pretty sure it's how he legitimately
lived his life.
Oh god.
You can give us a lot of movies. If you think they're terrible, we'll watch them. We will most definitely watch them. If you think they're good movies, we'll watch them.
We may not enjoy them.
Yeah.
Doyle will enjoy them.
Send in what you think we need to watch. We'll watch it. We give each other recommendations all the time. Speaking of the movie we're about to talk about, I brought a movie to Dalton's attention, and I was like, hey, you should watch this. He was like, oh, well, I mean, anything could be better than this movie. And I was like, man, you know what? I need to watch that movie then. So I watched it, and unbeknownst to me, this movie was the hottest of garbage.
It was, and it made me really sad, because I was just I don't know, seeing the trailer for it,
I heard the trailer was fantastic.
Well, even looking at the trailer, I was like, it kind of looks bad, but I'll have hope. All of Netflix originals are normally pretty good.
They're surprising. They're like a guilty pleasure. They're things you feel like they're independent films, but they're done so well because they have great actors.
Yeah, but my thing was, I had hope, and then I was like, oh, it's the director for Suicide Squad.
Which obviously was another role where everybody was bad but Will Smith.
Well, alright, so we'll get down to the nitty gritty. We watched Bright.
It was the...
Oh
god.
So we're gonna start with the cons of the movie. Let's get that out of the way. So the first con, the plot.
God bless. So in this movie, it's
magical creatures.
It's 2,000 years after the Dark Lord's fight battle, whatever. They don't explain shit.
Yeah, they really don't.
They just jump in to Will Smith getting shot in the beginning, and then his partner Nick Jacoby, who is an orc, the only orc cop, is just oh, partner, no.
Oh, yeah, I forgot he's the only orc cop.
He's the only one because he's the trial program orc, and so they don't explain anything going into it. You start the movie out with Will Smith at a comic book stand or something. Or
no, he's at a hot dog stand.
Is it a hot dog stand? Yeah. And then
no. Nick's getting the hot dog.
And then Will
Smith's waiting on it. So it's your typical buddy cop.
Yeah, you think oh, these guys are really cool. They've been together for a long. No, that fucking dude, another orc, fucking Shrek just pops out the damn store. Boom! There goes Will Smith.
But my thing was the plot didn't work because they tried to incorporate this fantasy mythical creature thing with a buddy cop film, and the film did not know what it needed to be.
It didn't know if it wanted to be fantasy, sci-fi, action, or comedy. It was
/ buddy cop.
It was so out there that I feel like they just drew like topics from a hat and directed it as it was going. All right, next scene. Yep.
Well, my thing was, I felt like it would have worked better if it was like they hit like kind of like the idea of like, you know, Nick was an orc this whole time, but like they could hide themselves and like he discovers magic and then Nick's like, well, like, I'm really an orc or something. You're like, magic disguises me.
So, like, we basically say that, like, the plot's simple. It just didn't flow well.
Yeah.
Like, by that, it was
so by the book. Like, I knew everything that was going to happen before it happened.
You could call it all because they gave it all away to you. So, you have no idea what anything is until the absolute end of the film, but you hear about everything. Well, but you can call it as it goes.
Well, my thing was, so, obviously spoilers in this, like, my thing was the very beginning when they were like, you can't trust an orc, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, they're like, we have to report this wand. And I was like, they're gonna, like, try to kill Nick. I already know that's gonna happen. And they're like, we just need to off the orc and keep the wand. I was like, oh my god, how did I call this?
Yeah.
And then he's like, alright, I'll take care of it. And I was like, Will Smith's gonna try to get Nick out of this, and then Will Smith's gonna kill all these cops.
Before that happened, you have the naked dude who's either an orc or a human. It's untellable. It's undescribable. He's just naked in the middle of wherever the hell they are.
Oh yeah, and he's swinging the days is coming.
He's swinging a fucking claymore around in a group of people, and everybody's just like, what is this guy doing? And, you know, they arrest him, and then he's like speaking Orcish to Nick Jacoby, and Will Smith's character is just looking at him like, what the fuck's he saying? Literally says, what the fuck?
Like, all this could have been, like, avoided, really. Like, if Nick just been like, oh...
Yeah, he says, he's telling Nick...
The end of days is coming.
The end of days is coming. Nick is basically the protector of the chosen one. He's the prophecy. Oh, goddamn. Well, who knew that? And Will Smith is the blessed one. But you're just like, oh, so...
What do you say?
I guess we're going to find something out, and then we're just going to be able to call the rest of this movie from here on out. And this is, give or take, this is probably 20, 30 minutes into the film.
You're about 25 minutes in, yeah.
Yeah. So you're like, man, I'm not even halfway through with this fucking movie, and I already know what's going to happen. So they go through, and then they hear all this tale, like, you probably heard this too. They're talking like, okay, well, in order for them to bring the Dark One back, Satan, I guess, I don't fucking know.
It was like the elf?
Some big motherfucker.
Yeah.
The Lich King.
Yeah, let's call it the Lich King. They were bringing the Lich King back.
In order to bring the Lich King back, they need 3 wands controlled by 3 fucking
brights.
Dark and scary magicians.
3 brights.
3 brights.
Yeah.
So they're sitting there and they're trying to find all this out. Okay. They're going through the movie and they find out, oh, hey, look, we know that one bright's chasing another bright because they need the wand. No, now the plot's changed completely because now the evil bright only needs the one wand in order to bring back the Lich King. Out of nowhere. She's just like, oh, okay, so as long as I have this one wand, then I'm good to go.
Yeah, I was like, was this one wand very special? Like they never really say.
There weren't 2 other people with this other lady with wands. They were just 3 vampire badasses, you know, they
really did look like vampires now that you bring that up. Like, they didn't look like elves at all.
No, they were vanishing around. They looked like rejects of Edward Cullen's family.
Like the reject of Blade 3.
My God, yes. They just didn't make the cut. Triple H buried them.
So in the end, like, the movie just ends with, like, of course, like, they kill the Bright before the Lich King comes back, and then the one elf Bright just dies.
Yeah, it was like my most infuriating part is you're building me up for this really cool
epic battle, and the epic battle at the end's like, oh, this is kind of shit.
And Nick Jacoby, they go into this whole like, why does Will Smith trust Nick now? And Nick's trying to explain to him, he's like, I let a kid go, an innocent orc child go because he did not shoot you. And, you know, Will Smith's like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna believe you because you seem honest. And now they're all buddies, but they're still kind of like standoffish. And then So they're sitting in there. They get captured by all the other orcs, and this dude's holding a gun. He brings his son in. He's like, "Kill him." And his son's holding the gun. He's like, "I can't kill him, Dad. He let me go." And Nick's
it turns out to be the kid that Nick let go. And
Nick's like, "That's the kid I let go." And then Will Smith's like, "Cool." Dude kicks his son out of the room, picks up the gun,
and
still shoots Nick. Doesn't make sense. Why are you still gonna shoot him? You don't forgive him because he saved him from a life of crime, or like from jail or anything. No, he shoots him. Not 2 seconds later,
comes back to life.
Does the bright that they're like protecting just gets the wand and brings him back. You don't get a moment of grieving at all. You're not like, oh shit, Nick's dead. No, bitch just gets the wand, resurrects him, and everybody's like, the prophecy! And then they're all like, oh, Nick's the best orc in the world. And I'm like, what? What just happened? Did I miss a scene? Is the movie just cut somewhere? Like, irrelevant. And then they go into this big fight scene.
That's after, that's just before the climax, like where they're all fighting.
And they go into like the Bright versus Bright, and bitch is getting shot like a lot. Evil bitch is getting shot a lot by Nick, and they try to be cool, and Nick shoots the wand out of her hand, and Will Smith gives a really cool line. He's like, and
then you find out Will Smith is a Bright too.
Yeah, but
I'm just like, of course he is.
He gives this badass line, and you're like, man, Nick's about to be a badass. This movie's finally gonna give me something I want. And he's like, oh man, if you were aiming for the wand, that was a nice shot. How about you shoot the bitch in the fucking head? And Nick's like, I'm about to. Pulls the trigger, empty clip, and goes, I guess not. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, really?
Yeah.
And then Will Smith picks up the wand.
And he doesn't evaporate. So if you touch a wand and you're not a Bright, you just dissolve.
Yeah.
So then Will Smith picks up the wand and he's just like, ah, Expelliarmus, bitch!
Which doesn't make sense because the way he says it, he goes, I'm gonna pick up this wand and kill us all. No, if you touch the wand, you evaporate. Not everybody in the fucking room.
They changed the rules again.
Why?
Been over this. They're like changing the rules.
So he's like,
they're pulling shit out the hat.
So now Will Smith is like, you know what? Nope, I'm the guy that if I touch the wand, everybody dies. Cool, I'm gonna sacrifice myself. And the bitch is scared now. She's like, oh no, he's gonna kill us all. No, he grabs the wand, it turns red like Darth Sith powers. And then he's like, I don't know what's going on. And then the good Bright is like, say this spell. And he's like,
Expelliarmus, bitch!
Yeah, Expecto Patronum, some shit. Kills the evil witch and the good witch. And then he's like, oh, I don't ever want to touch this wand again.
I'm a Bright. I don't ever touch this wand again.
And then they hide the entire truth. Like, it doesn't matter because apparently you can't be a task force cop in fantasy world.
It was the like Bright police or whatever. They're just like,
so there was
like,
no
you
one.
two don't go to jail for the murder of 6 cops, and this doesn't get out. And they're like, okay, yeah. Like and then like pretty much at the end they're just like, what happened? We responded to a call, and officers were shot after arrival.
There was no wand. All right, that's what
happened.
happened.
Then. All right, there's what happened. All right, you guys have a good day, and then the cops leave.
Like, piss poor.
Like they're like, I was just like, that was the most like buddy cop wrap up, and the whole movie didn't feel like a buddy cop film at all.
I feel like it would have been better if whenever they left the building, they got into their big Humvee Jeep thing, and then the Sanford and Son song played.
So, but that kind of brings us to the next point. After all of this plot stuff, the acting.
You got everybody but Will Smith and Joel Edgerton, who played Nick Jacoby.
For the most part, were pretty bad.
Awful, even.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't care. Like, I don't remember the good Bright chick's name that they're protecting the whole time.
She was okay, but she didn't talk.
She didn't talk. Like,
she was just there to be a child.
There was no acting with her, and like the little bit she did talk, I was like, please stop talking. Yeah,
because she was speaking like Elfish.
No, well, she talked in English. You like find out and you're like, what? You spoke English the whole time? I didn't trust you. Yeah. Bitch, I've been protecting your life this whole time. You didn't trust him.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, after they thought they killed her, nope, they weren't. It's God bless. The bitch is still alive. She didn't die in the end because they were getting their award medals and all that.
Oh yeah, don't they have like? Oh yeah, they do have like a huge like award ceremony at the end. And they're like, congrats, Nick, you get a medal. You're the first orc cop.
Yeah. Now we all love you and cherish you.
Like, the whole movie was just ugh. Like I said, the acting, everyone sucked. Even like Will Smith and like Joel Edgerton like did okay, but for like a star like Will Smith, like I'm just like, man, Will, like this is almost on par with your performance in After. That says
I
a
have
lot.
not seen that movie.
Yeah, well, we need to watch a bad. We want to watch a bad movie.
Oh God.
So the other thing with the characters, I did not like a single character in this movie. Like I hated Will Smith's character, and like fucking Nick, the character I'm supposed to like the most. I'm just like, he's so annoying that I'm just like, I don't care.
I almost felt like this movie could have easily turned into I Am Legend. Like it ends. Everyone's just dying. Will Smith finds a dog, and then here's I Am Legend. And instead of like it explains like the people, instead of being diseased or whatever, those are like
Orcs.
little goblins or something. Like it makes sense. It could go into it. Plot twist. Here we go.
But the thing is, Will Smith's character in I Am Legend is more fucking likable.
Yeah, because he was a badass, and here he was just Hitch.
He was Hitch with a gun. But like, no, like my thing is like, I couldn't like, in like, I felt like that's like another part that just kind of drew me out of the whole movie, is I could not like a single damn character.
Nobody cared. Literally everybody who was a cop didn't even care that they were cops.
Except Nick. And even then,
Nick tried
like,
so damn hard just to be liked, and nobody wanted to go, you keep your orc piece of shit partner away from me and my family. It's like, what the fuck? Shut the fuck up. Just let him live his life. You're not his dad.
Well, obviously the movie's meant to be like a metaphor for that stuff, but
it's like promoting how, I guess, racism works, basically.
Yeah.
But it's a little extreme to that point. Like,
well, I feel like that's like the whole point, but at the same time, I'm just like, you're making the only character that I'm supposed to like be too much of like a person that I'm just like, if he doesn't stand up for himself, I just don't give a shit. Like,
and there was one
I don't care about.
There was one moment where he went to stand up for himself, and that was apparently the point changing revelation for Will Smith to start liking Nick Jacoby. And
that's not how it works.
And other than that, there was nothing else.
That's not how it works, though,
like,
and that's what makes it annoying.
He heard all the conversations of literally every cop shit talking him in the locker room,
and didn't stand up for him.
And you know, Will Smith is like kind of here nor there,
like
saying
he's like that person that like you're like your best friend's getting shit on, and you're kind of like, well, I mean, I like him, and they're like, yeah, I don't care, he's a piece of shit, and you're like, well, maybe. I mean, it's like
he went to stand up for him, like he was like, hey, he's my partner, but I don't like him either, and it's like, what?
That's like you're like, you know, that's like your work buddy. Like, being like, yeah, I'll work with him.
And then he's like, you know, he's talking about like how he kind of enjoys Nick here and there, depending on. Like, they had a good little moment where, you know, you thought they were going to joke up, and Nick was like, I have a lot of human face expressions. He goes, oh, okay, well, how about you show me the one where the orc shuts his fucking mouth and drives us the rest of the way. Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, you killing that one. That's a good look on you, homie. You should do that one more often. Like,
I feel like that was the only part in the movie I liked, is when they were talking in the car and he was doing like, I have lots of human face expressions.
Like, it was a very funny scene. It needed to be there, and
well, like the whole point is it's supposed to give the dynamic between them, but like by that, like literally that's the only dynamic I get in the movie of like them really like conversing.
Yeah.
And then like by the end of it, I'm just kind of like, I felt like they talked more when they were just shit talking each other.
Yeah, it was just odd.
So I guess we'll move on to the pros of the movie. The makeup.
Makeup was fantastic.
Makeup was great.
They did
Joel Edgerton's like orc makeup looked
all the
orcs.
orcs. Yeah, they did like was like a skin pigmentation thing where like they were like half blue and like a pasty, like a normal like skin beige color. But you know, instead of like they drove away from like orcs being all 100% dirty and like green or whatever.
Troll under the bridge looking thing.
Yeah, no, it was great. Now all of them were bald, I do believe.
Yeah, and then well, they used like, so like I think like Joel Edgerton said like it was like 3 hours in the makeup chair a day.
Yeah.
Like 5 a.m. he'd get up. They put on all the makeup for everybody, and like it looked great. It looked fantastic. The elves looked great for the most part, even though they kind of look like fucking vampires.
I mean, elves are elves. How can you really mess up just going, oh hey, do you look really clean? Have nice long hair. Oh, here's some ears.
Well, they made him like really pale too in this movie.
Yeah. That's what gave the vampire look to me, I think.
Like, yeah, they don't look like Legolas.
Yeah, no, they didn't look like Legolas at all. Really, like they had the attempt to look like them, but then they gave them the weird eyes that made them look like vampires.
Yeah, well, I think they wanted to make them look more fantasy, like play up the fantasy idea.
Fair.
And then like the fairies, like there wasn't really many. Like, I think there's only like that one fairy at the beginning.
The fairy at the beginning, and then there was one more at the end.
Yeah, those were kind of cool. They're pretty noticeably CG though, but
that was horrible. He beat
the
shit out of it with a broom for no reason.
It was like a fly, pretty much. Like fairies are basically like rodents in the world, so that was weird.
The gang output in this movie was really
how all orcs are in gangs, pretty much.
Yeah, like there wasn't a blood or a crypt. You're either an orc or a human. That was your gang. It's horrible.
So I guess like going off the fairy with the CG. Most of the special effects movie look great, like the car chases, the explosions.
Yes.
All those look fantastic. I feel like the fairies were the only part that looked horrible. Even the magic, like the ending fight with the magic, looked okay.
They kept to the little detail that caught my eye. Actually, is since nobody ever zipped up the little bag that they put the wand in, it always had a little glow to it, no matter where it was.
Yeah, I remember.
So the bag would be like so far away, but you could tell where the wand is because of the little glow that they still added to it. And then anytime the wand came out, you're like, oh shit, a very big glow. And like that little detail is like, you know what? Anybody else could have just forgot about that and just be like, oh no, it's in a bag. You don't need to see a glow. No, it had like the little glimmer of hope kind of coming out of it. Like, you know, this is important.
Yeah. And that brings us to the last pro of the movie. It ended. Like, that was the best. It ended. I was like, all right, well, it's over. Thank God it's over. Like, I don't know. Like, how long is the movie? I want to say it was like an hour, like 45, hour 50. And I just wanted to be like, thank God, if this movie went over 2 hours, I probably would have turned it off.
And it could have, you could finish it off like Nick Jacoby did. Just be like, it's about to be a good movie. Well, it was about to be a good movie.
And then the movie ends. And I was like, well, okay. Like, I didn't think that was funny. I was just like, all right, well, they tried to do something at the end there.
Yeah.
So it's time.
A thing we kind of didn't mention, actually, was it didn't really feel like a Netflix original movie.
Oh, yeah, it didn't. Well, I don't know. Because, like I said, like, there's, like, most stuff. Well, like, most stuff on Netflix is, like, it can be really good, but then, like, my issue with Netflix is if it's not good, it's horrible. There's never a middle ground.
There isn't really.
I felt like maybe Marco Polo has been the only middle ground where I could say it wasn't good and it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I tried. I think I wanted to start Marco Polo, and then a lot of other things got my attention. Like I really love the series that they did, Sense8. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, that was one of those series that was.
It's a very mind-fucking experience, but it's really good.
Yeah. But other than that, like, nothing's been really, like I said, it's either, like, really good or really bad, and I guess you may have stuff that's, like, I guess that's middle ground-ish, and I can't really lean towards either one, but it didn't really feel like that Netflix original that would, like...
Stand out.
It didn't stand out. Even, like, I felt like even if they, like, kind of, like, went a different direction with this movie... It still wouldn't have stood out with me. Even, like, star power of someone like Will Smith.
If this is a way to actually talk about the movie. So, we have a mutual friend in Derek Despain, and he also watched the film. And I was like, man, I just watched Bright. And he was like, that's a great movie. And I was like, that movie was hot fucking garbage. He's like, what? How'd you not like it? And then I was like, all right, so what about this part? And then he started picking it apart. And I was like, yeah, now you're starting to realize how much you actually hated the movie because you realize everything that you didn't like. And he's like, oh, God. Oh, God.
Well, I feel like it's one of those action movies where you're like, yeah, I enjoyed that. But, like, the more like you sit and think about it, you're like, oh, man.
Like, if you watched it and just don't think about things that make sense, Like, that's how...
Screw logic.
That's how Derek did. He watched it and he was like, you know what? That was a really solid movie. And I was like, but did it make sense that they went from needing 3 wands to 1 wand? He's like, no shit, no, fuck, they didn't. And the ending was terrible where he's like, I'm about to... Like, was easily the most hated part of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But that brings us to the ending part. Our rating for the movie. Justin, what do you give Bright?
I want to see what Rotten Tomatoes gave it. Can we look that up real quick?
It was really low.
I mean, because I'm gonna say I'm probably around like a 4.5 out of 10. Not out of 5, obviously. Doesn't deserve
4.5 out of 10.
4.5 out of 10.
I'm kind of at a 4 out of 10. I know it was really low. Not a lot of people were talking about it.
Yeah, no, they shouldn't.
They shouldn't talk about it, or shouldn't give it a high rating.
I don't really know.
It's pretty low. Yeah, 27%. Yeah. So, what did the audience give it? An 87%.
Those are the people that didn't like break it down
Those
afterwards.
are the people who didn't break it down. Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, I guess so. So I guess 4 point. Yeah. So I guess it just kind of makes it a 4.5.
Yeah.
Would you recommend someone to watch it? I said if there's nothing else on Netflix that they have watched. If they're caught up on like Stranger Things and like if they haven't watched Breaking Bad on Netflix yet, like if you haven't, you got some time out of your day, you want to kill like 2 hours, the kids are off at soccer practice, screw it, it's a Will Smith movie, put it on,
If I would ever recommend it, if you've ever wanted to watch Kindergarten Cop
with Will Smith and an orc
plus Lord of the Rings plus Harry Potter
plus Independence Day,
then Bright is your fucking movie.
So God, I think the most messed up thing is that like that makes sense, but yeah, like I said, give it a watch if you have nothing else to watch really, like just But on that note, that is our review of Bright.
Help. We'll be back.
We'll be back with plenty of more movies.
Oh God, this is gonna be fun.
So this is Dalton,
and I'm Oppie.
We'll see you guys later in the next episode of ConQuest.
Pow.